Kudus. Apparently, according to Ben Jacobs, West Ham are demanding a different pricing for to Spurs in a deal for Kudus, a Tottenham tax, if you will. And Spurs are growing concerned that Chelsea will soon make space in their squad to launch a second offer for him, according to Dean Joe's Soccer, whoever that is. I've been saying there should be a Tottenham tax. I don't want to sell to Spurs. It would leave a sour taste in my mouth. Spurs apparently have offered a deal of 50 million plus 5 million add-ons paid over 5 years, which is not good enough for me. Yeah, they should pay more. Like, if you want to do a deal with us and get our players, then it's going to hurt.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be totally honest, and people are not going to want to hear this. He ain't going for £85 million, and I think he will go to Tottenham. I think 60 million to get him. I think we'll deal with 60 million. I think that's what we're holding out for. I also think the club have made a massive mistake, and I know we're fucking desperate. To be honest with you, at this point in the season, how he's talking to them without our permission is very dodgy. You know what I mean? Like, and that's,
does he not have our permission?
Is that so? He must have our permission. This is what I'm saying. He must have our permission.
That's tapping up otherwise.
Yeah, he must have our permission to go and talk to Tottenham. I think he's fucking mad. I think they've put him in a position. They've put themselves in a position where now they can't turn it down, because if he's openly talking about Tottenham and like wanting to go to Tottenham and liking to go to Tottenham, and we don't deal to Tottenham and he has to stay here, he's fucked. He is fucked. Like, so he can't stay here now. Like, he's out the door. He's been talking to Tottenham. Apparently, it's gone very well. He's very open to playing for Tottenham. He can't come back here now. So they've blocked every sort of other exit apart from going to Tottenham, unless somebody else comes in with bigger money and he fancies it. If Tottenham have got in his ear roll and they've talked to him and he likes that, he is now in a position where he can turn around and go, Chelsea could come and offer £130 million. I'm not going to Chelsea. I'm not going to Saudi and all that. I'm only going to Tottenham.
Why would he do that? Why would he choose Tottenham over Chelsea?
You don't know. Why? You know, why did fucking...
Yeah, but you're talking about weird hypotheticals. Like,
I am talking about weird hypotheticals, but I'm just saying they've backed themselves into a corner, West Ham, by letting him talk to him so early.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like you said, is whether they have let him talk to him. At the end of the day, if they're letting a player talk to clubs, then they can talk to clubs. You know, just because it's just Tottenham and Tottenham has sold a decent package, I'm sure if another club comes in with a higher profile than Spurs, and at the end of the day, mate, money talks. It could be all lovely, like jubbly. Yeah, I'm going to Tottenham. I'm going to play for Tottenham. Chelsea come in and bug another $100,000 a week on his contract. He ain't going to go to Tottenham. Because let's be honest, that's all these Premier League footballers care about. Is that? That's it.
He's got a chance to go to Saudi, and that'll confront all the wages that anyone will pay him.
Exactly. But and this is the thing: has any Saudi club come in for him yet? And that's the thing. You can sit there and say he's got the opportunity. He's got the opportunity to go any club in the world that actually want him. And that's the problem. Is again.
But what do we do now, Scott? Right. So apparently our transfer business really, really depends on him leaving the club, right? Now, do we call Tottenham's bluff? It's a big offer. It's a big offer, but it's not big enough, in my opinion, right? He's already talked himself into not being able to stay here, right? So what do we do now? Do we sit there and go, right, reject their offer, but we're going to hope that a Chelsea come in or a Saudi club come in for bigger money or whatever? Or are we in a position now where we just have to bite the bullet? Because
we're mugging ourselves off. You're mugging yourself off, right?
No, we've already mugged ourselves off by letting him talk to him. We should not have been opening discussions with Tottenham as a first port of call. No way.
But the problem is, though, Nick, right, is that you're looking at that with a West Ham hat on. Yeah, you're looking at it as if to say, like, it's we can't sell to Tottenham no matter what. Right? At the end of the day, if the player...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's Tottenham, right? I can't stand the club, you know, as much as I can't stand Arsenal nowadays more than I can't stand Spurs. But at the end of the day, if they're willing to offer the money, then the player's gone. But he's got to meet.
They're not offering the money; they're offering below the money. And this is where I was reading last night. I know they've rejected it, but I think they're into a position now where, you know, there could have been a situation where they could have demanded the money, but I think they've shot themselves in the foot by letting them talk openly about it and letting it be known, because there's no way back for the man now.
No, but that's the thing. And I get what you're saying there, and this is the big problem with West Ham being, they've got more leaks than the Titanic, mate, and that's the biggest issue that you've got. Is there's leaks upon leaks upon leaks in this football club. And this is why it's not West Ham back themselves into the corner. It's these people who leak all these fucking stories that back us into corners. At the end of the day, if Bournemouth can turn down a bid for 70 million for a player that was good for them last season, the potential that Kudus has, we can turn down the offer until it reaches the offer that we want. And this is the thing. West Ham have got to start learning when they're selling players to do what every other club does to us and play our ball. And turn around and say, this is what we want. You want a player. If this is the man you want for your team and you're desperate to get him, pay us the money. That's all it boils down to. If he wants to go, let him go. There's no point having a player at the club.
No, I'm not opposed to him going, Scott, and I'm definitely not opposed to going into it. I don't give a shit where he goes. If he don't want to play for West Ham, he can go anywhere. I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, I think they've backed themselves into a corner by letting him openly talk to Tottenham, by letting him openly praise Tottenham, by letting him leak the fact that he wouldn't mind going there, and the discussions going well before any other clubs even bidded for him. I think they've put themselves into a corner because now he's openly said it. Yeah, if he gets into a position where we reject it and they don't come back in, he can't come back here.
But he can't because he's our player.
Yeah, but he's not going to.
It don't matter. He's our player.
You can't say he can't come back.
Exactly.
There's no.
Listen, if I start the season on a flyer, mate, and bangs in 10 goals in 15 games, no one's going to give a shit that he was going to go to Tottenham in the summer.
He's not down tools or anything. All that's happened is West Ham have tried desperately to sell the geezer, so he started talking to one of the clubs that wanted to buy him after we've put him in the shop window. So if he don't get sold, we can't sit there and say, oh, well, you tried to speak to a club that wanted to sign you after we tried our hardest to sell you. That's our fault. We're the one trying to push to sell him and put him in the shop window.
But fans don't look at it like that, mate. They don't look at it like that. We should not be entertaining Tottenham. Any Tottenham approach for anyone. But that's and this is the problem, right? So when we had that Kudus discussion the other day, I've had a look on a couple of our shorts of comments on them, and this is the comments from the Tottenham fans. Why wouldn't he want to come here over your piece of shit club and all that sort of thing? And when we want to take your best players, we take them. We took Parker, we took Carrick, we took Defoe, we took Freddie Canute. When we want them, we'll take them. The difference is we're not in the fucking championship. Them players that they took, we was in the championship. We had no choice but to. We should not be dealing with because that is bowing down to your rivals, right? And it ain't a rivalry. It ain't a rivalry. Why wouldn't he want to come here? I'll tell you why he wouldn't want to come there, because you finished 17th in the fucking league last year. You won a cup, yeah, absolutely. But you finished below us in the league, and we were fucking diabolical. So, yes, you're playing Champions League football the same way when we finished 14th, we was playing European football, UEFA Cup football. Yeah, you are playing that. You'll play 8 games in it, and you'll be knocked out, and you won't be getting back there next year. I can guarantee that now, right? So, it ain't as attractive as you fucking think going to play for fucking Poxy Tottenham, yeah. And if he wants to go and do that, and he's ready to fucking up sticks and leave, go across town to one of our biggest rivals, go and fuck him. You know what I mean? Fuck him. Anyway, I won't want him playing us, but we should never have put ourselves in that position where Tottenham was the opening one and it was open that he was talking to him.
Yeah, but I don't get that, because the thing is, you're saying fuck him if he wants to go there. If the club are saying,
that's my opinion.
I know, I'm challenging your opinion, which is fine.
But I'm just saying, for business, that's not great.
Yeah, I know it's not great,
but that's our biggest problem.
What I'm saying is, if you're criticizing him for entertaining going to Spurs, right? You're a player, foreign player coming here. The club are openly saying they want to sell this player. We want to sell him. We're trying to sell him, flaunting him about. And if Spurs come in, and they're the club most likely to come in for him, this club that you're at want you gone, want you sold. And you're supposed to sit there and go, "Oh, Spurs are a rival." No, not them.
No, but but you haven't discussed it. You're openly discussing it. You're openly discussing it, and he's talking about liking the fact that he's going to go there. It's a big rival.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, well, I've seen it. It might be true. It might not be true.
Not being funny, mate. The thing is you've got
you got the fucking tweet up the other day.
Yeah. No, it didn't say where he said, "Oh, I want to go" in public, but that's private to say that he was open to the move. He's not going out in public, sitting there and doing interviews, going, "Yeah, I'd love to go."
Open to the move, and it equates to one thing in a football fan's mind.
But why wouldn't he be open to it? Because we're trying to sell him, and they're the only ones trying to buy him. So why wouldn't he be open to it?
No,
These don't want me. These are in Champions League, and they do want me.
You know, players that play for your club should not be entertaining straight away going to the rivals.
Yeah, but Nick, but this is what I'm saying. We are pushing him out the door. We're saying to him, "We don't want you." This club wants him, and we don't. So
yeah, and the thing is, he's
say nothing and get it done and say it all when you get there.
He's not saying anything. These are ITK reports. He's not saying anything.
It's coming from somewhere, Dan.
It's probably coming from agents and shit like that. If anything, what he's probably doing, and this is what happens a lot with agents, it's a hello, I could be moving here. Come and get me better clubs. Hello, Chelsea.
Could be.
Right? That's a lot of the time what it is, because if it looks like it's close to joining, other clubs get their arse in gear and just think, shit, he's open to going.
This is it. And let's be honest.
I hope for his sake that is it, because if he ends up there after the first round of talks, he goes.
You don't give a shit if he goes there.
No, but I'm just for his. I didn't say for my sake. I don't give a shit where he goes. I'm saying for his sake, because when he comes back to that London stadium, mate, fucking hell.
Well, that's what, and that's fair. But it's fair game
from a big far distance. You do.
Yeah, that's fair game. Rice gets it, and Rice understands it. It's fair game. Like, you go to another club, right, like that fans don't like. You're going to get it. You're always going to get stick going back.
Of course you are.
It's fair to you that you'll get stick. If he goes Chelsea, he should get stick because he's playing for Chelsea. But I'd rather he go Chelsea. Unless it's shit.
But that's what it boils down to. Like you said, you don't really want to see him. Ideally, you want Kudus out the country playing for someone who we're not going to be playing up against. No matter who it is, you don't want to see him carrying on in the Premier League. You want him.
I think he'll have the same problems at Tottenham as he's had with us. I think he'll have a good start and he'll peter off, because I don't think he's going to.
Do you know what one of his big issues is, right? Is he's really good on the ball. He's good at making things happen and moving around. His end product is a problem, because we see it, Scott. We sit in the same time and time again, head down. There's a player there in a better position. He'd rather try and shoot from an impossible position, hit it side net in, then cut back and pass it to someone in a better situation. That's a big problem.
It's a big problem with a lot of better players, mate. That's the thing.
Yeah, and he wasn't turning up for the lesser games. He was only turning up for the big games.
Yeah, and that is the issue with him. He was a big time player. Now, that first season, he looked completely different to last season. Last season, he just turned up.
Last season, I think the Arsenal game, I thought he was magnificent.
Yeah, because
that's what I'm saying. The big games.
Yeah, big games. Yeah, putting himself on a pedestal. But it was always going to be that. But Tottenham ain't a big club. I'm sorry, but they're not. They're not an Arsenal, and they're not a Man City, or they're a sideways step.
I said this
earlier. They're not an elite level club. That's the difference.
No, they're not.
They think they're elite level, but they're not an elite level club.
No, but this is the thing. What I said about the move on Potts channel, right? Is they're a very volatile club in the fact of they have Champions League now, but you sign there. You're not going there to be a Champions League player season in, season out. They'll be fucking back in the shit within 1 to 2 seasons, and then you're down mid-table. All of a sudden wondering what the hell happened. Like, they're not a consistent top.
No, they've got into it by sheer fucking luck, Dan. Let's be honest. They've got into it by... No, they won the cup. I'm not going to say sheer luck. But their fucking route there wasn't exactly fucking laced with fucking gold, was it? They weren't playing the fucking top team. They won it in a competition where there was no Champions League drop down. If there had been a Champions League drop down, they wouldn't have won that cup.
Yeah. If they had the season before when we was if they had that Europa League where we got knocked out to Leverkusen, mate,
no chance in a fucking million years would they have made that cut. Yes, that was very impressive in a Frankfurt game, but the semi-final against that Bodo Glimt or whatever the fuck that was, that I think any Premier League team would have beat them, and they beat Poxy Man United. We beat Man United twice, and we're fucking shit.
Yeah, that's it. Like, look, there was an element of fortune to them getting to that Champions League.
But there we go. Look, Ian Bruniesa says our route to our cup win wasn't exactly hard either, to be fair. But I'm not talking about our cup win. I'm talking about why they're in the Champions League, because they finished below us, 17th in the fucking league, 17th in the league.
At the end of the day, they won the competition, and that's the prize at the end of the competition.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it is prize.
Someone who was fucking 16th in the fucking league at the time.
Scott, when you're weighing up, when you're weighing up a club, Scott, to go to, and you say, right, you're looking at that club not just for next season, for the next, say, 5 seasons, right? What's the projection for this club of where they're, what trajectory are they on? Mm-hmm. You look at it and you say, well, they're in the Champions League. Well, why are they in the Champions League? They finished 17th last season, and they won the easiest Europa League in the history of the Europa League. Now, I don't take that away from them in terms of their trophy, but in terms of assessing where they are as a football club and what their needs going forward, it's a big jump for them to go from 17th to being competing for Champions League football next season, because not only if they are in the Champions League, right, which means they're going to have to play their first team twice a week, right, they're going to have to rebuild their squad massively to try and bridge that gap. That's a huge gap to bridge, and Kudus is going to go there and expect he's one of the big boys. He's up there with Chelsea and Liverpool.
But the thing is, like, Dan, is what you're being sold, right? So you look at it coming, take the West Ham hat off, right? Yeah, you're going to a side that's just won a trophy, a European trophy. They're playing in the Champions League. They've got a manager that's been doing great things at Brentford. So this is a new, exciting project, with Champions League football.
They've also had a manager that was doing great things at Wolves. They've also had a manager that's doing great things over in fucking Australia, wherever the fuck they got him from. Doesn't necessarily.
It doesn't necessarily count for anything. But what I'm saying to you is, you look at, take the West Ham off.
Yes, I'm not. But West Ham's hats off, Scott. Is what I'm saying is you're looking at it, right? Yes, they're in Champions League. Yes, they have a new manager, right? But there's nothing there to suggest that they're an exciting project and they're going to be in Champions League and compete in Champions League season after season. Thomas Frank is an unproven quantity at that level, right?
Yep,
He's done a good job at Brentford. But at the same time, he hasn't ever got Europe with Brentford. He's never played in Europe with him.
Who's done a better job? Who's done a better job?
But for Brentford,
listen, who's done a better job?
Yes, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a Champions League level manager.
Thomas Frank done a better job, or has the Crystal Palace manager done a better job?
Yeah, you've got to say Glasner.
I get what you're saying, because he's won a trophy.
He's won the FA Cup, Scott, against Man City.
Yeah,
makes a good point. Yeah, and no one's denying this, mate.
We're not comparing.
No one's comparing. We're a mess. We're not comparing them. We're just saying what he would be. Would he be better?
In West Ham or
absolutely fucking not. He can't stay here because we are a fucking mess, right?
They're in a better position than us. Let's listen.
They are. But just
third. However, this is the thing, Nick, right? If you're going to leave a club, you're going to make a move. You've got, like, Kudus has options. If he wants to jump to any club to get out, you can jump to any club. But if he's smart and takes his time, like Chelsea are a much more attractive proposition. But there are options out there.
Right. Yeah, Dan, I agree with you. Chelsea is a better proposition, right? But are Chelsea actually interested in him? This is the thing. You're looking at all the speculation, right? Yeah, Real Madrid's a better proposition. Bayern Munich's a better proposition. Yeah, are they coming in for him? No. And this is the thing. At the end of the day, right? Whether we think what we think about Spurs or where Spurs are going to be finished next season, if he goes there, he will be playing in the Champions League. And at the end of the day, it's another stepping stone. And that's how you got to look at it. They're going to pay him more money wages. He's going to get a signing on bonus. He's going to be playing in Champions League football.
Israeli champions.
The window opens up for him even more.
Does that mean he's going to go to the Israeli champions? No.
Yeah. No, of course it doesn't. But the profile of Tottenham in the Premier League playing in the Champions League is a lot higher than what you do.
No, I understand. I agree with everyone. Right? They are a better prospect right now. Yeah. But they're not a million miles away. Yeah, I'm sorry. They ain't the club. That is not the stone I would be stepping for if I was him. Yeah,
and it's not that easy, Scott, to think that he can go there as a stepping stone. Because yes, you go to that club, you sign a contract, right? Say he signs a contract, goes to Spurs, they miss out on European football next season, right? Have a shit season. He can't then just go, all right, well, I'm on the stepping stone now. Go to Liverpool, right?
Yeah, but
Salah's gone. Like, it's not that easy.
You can't do that. But
Spurs are going to want more.
If he goes there and is their best player in the Champions League, is their best player in the league, it's still a stepping stone, isn't it?
But he has a contract, Scott. Like, if Spurs don't want to sell him, or they put a massive, because if they pay 60 mil, Scott,
they're
going to want a big. They're going to want a big profit on that. If he's their best player, Scott, after they pay 6 million and he's their best player, he goes over 100 million. He starts getting into conversations where clubs go, "No, I'm not going to spend."
But then you get into a price point, Scott, where he's very limited at where he's going, and he's very limited to find a club there. So you'll be stuck there. I think he'd be better off making a Chelsea move now. This is my opinion, right? But I don't give a shit what he does. And let me make this clear. I do not give a shit what he does. But I think in terms of himself, he would be better making a Chelsea move now, where they're long term better off prospects for the league and all that, rather than moving to Tottenham and hoping that, you know, he's got to be good enough. Then they pay 65 million pounds for him. Again, they want another third for him. So 100 million. You're going into a very elite crop of clubs. Is he going to be good enough to get to that elite crop of clubs? I don't know. You know what I mean? Nobody knows, right? And then you're very limited to an amount of, like, if he goes over 100 million, will Chelsea be able to buy him? Will Bayern Munich be able to buy him? I don't know. Probably not.
And in some instances, you look at it this way, right?
Yeah, then.
If I'm him, right?
I mean, look, fucking Richarlison and fucking all them guys. You know what I mean?
But you've got the opportunity to go there and be their best player.
But he's our best. Well, he's not our best player, really.
No, but this is it. He's got the opportunity to go there and be their best player.
He can be, though, Scott. He can be. That is the frustrating thing with him. He can be. He's got all the tools to be.
I don't think he will be. I think
it will be a very, very similar situation. I think it'll be Champions League season. I think he'll be fucking right at it. And then when they're not in the Champions League next year, or if they don't get in it, I'm not going to say when they're not in it, because they might well get in it. You never know. You know what I mean? They have had pre-season in it. But if they don't get in it next year and they're fucking sort of languishing around mid-table, I think it's another case where he downs tools and then he's fucked.
Yep.
And then he's fucked.
But he's fucked earning more money than what he's earning now, and that's what it all boils down to.
Yeah, but he's not going to get silly.
I want to pay him more money. You know what I'm going to pay him.
Yeah,
this is
he's on. What is he on at us? 100 and what is he on? What are we paying him? 115, 100 and something like that. Like, Spurs don't pay silly wages. They don't do the 250 grand a week, and so he'll make a little bit more probably. They'll have to give him some more money, right? He'll have to get marginally more money. But I'm just saying, Scott, like, he could just rush off to the first club that comes, and that's Spurs. But long term, it might be better for him to wait. And obviously, look, we're trying to push him out. So,
and that's the thing. I'm not disagreeing, but I'm looking at it. Why, as I said, I'm taking my West Ham off. Why someone would want to go to Spurs, and that's the reasons.
No,
I'm just saying it's very short-term reasons, Scott. And I think players mostly and their agents should probably look more long-term, because you could just look. If you look at just now, Scott, in the present, they are in Champions League football.
Yep,
he could be one of their best players. He could go to flipping, Newcastle, said to be interested. He could go there. He don't want to go there, but he could be their best player. You know, if Forest qualified for Champions League, he could have gone there, but he wouldn't have wanted to go there because they're not big enough.
Yeah,